So the first one is why I considered masters in my 30s, and I always wanted to do a master's right from the beginning. One of the reasons I did not do that straight away is because of first money or financial. Secondly is that I would wanted the experience to get into the workforce as soon as possible. And then thirdly, is my visa status is that because of financial status, I wouldn't able to get a tier 4 visa to study in this UK. But then if I finish off my 5 years, I get my permanent residency, then I would be able to continue my studies after, which is what happened currently. One of the main reasons, rather than just financial, doing that is career advancement, which is pretty important. A lot of people think masters nowadays not important. Kinda, I would say, because of with all the AIs, ChatGPTs and all that, it felt like your work can be done a lot quicker than someone who finished a master's, from somewhere and they have to retrain them and so on. Career advancement is not just the thing you learn from master, it's mainly about the process you have learned in university, how you're able to split difficult tasks into chunks and then carry them on your own personal behalf and things like that. So these are all important process that you would say to learn that in the university, although people would argue that you don't need to have that, right? But not a lot of people are the same. Some people able to pick that up during the university. The second one is personal fulfillment, and mine is more into personal fulfillment, to be honest. I think it's about Asian trade as well, as the Asians kind of need to study as much as you can. But joke aside is that I always wanted to do a master's, especially in software engineering. I had the opportunity to do that in Oxford University, which is one of the prestige university, and I felt like this is a good opportunity to do that. After COVID, I just jumped into that, and it turns out probably one of the best decisions I ever did. Obviously, in that course is a part-time master degree, is a professional master degree. There are some comments around it, which I would share that in my future videos, but you can go through my past YouTube videos that I've been talking about quite a lot about, especially master degree, a part-time master degree, and how that's going to help people who wanted to be on the same journey. Doing a master at 30s, we come across challenges and solution as well. Let's be real to each other, is that it's not always smooth sailing. For example, for myself, last year I took 8 modules that I required to be 8 weeks to be staying in Oxford University. I'm quite fortunate because I only live like probably an hour and a half from Oxford, so I can pretty much just travel back and forth every day and then do a module and go on, and then my company is quite accommodates, which allow me to do so. In reality, but most people do not have that time to do it, so that things that you would have to know right from the start when you're taking a master's. And it's not just my part-time masters, some masters full-time, and then you would have to stop your 9-to-5 job. So how are you going to juggle that? So that's one of the things that's pretty difficult when you're doing that in 30s, which is a middle-aged guy like me. Not to say that not to do it, but balancing the work between your personal life and studies can be a juggle, I would say. And then also the financial consideration as well, where you would have to consider how much you're spending on your masters. And sometimes if you're a calculative guy like myself, you will look into your return on investments, whether the amount of money and the time you spend on the masters will actually work towards in your future, right? For me, I've already identified that this is for my personal fulfillment mainly, so that when it comes to return on investment, it doesn't quite bother me that much. So that pretty much the challenges and solutions that people would have to think about when they're jumping into it. And then when you go into success stories, you come across that a lot of people who pursue in their 30s, whether they have a great success time, that ties to financial considerations, that return on investment, whether that is worth at all doing that for 2 years, for 4 years. Well, I'm going to interview some of the people that's in my future videos, especially people already on their career and want to pursue their career on going forward, doing a master, whether that will help. And for me, I'll interview myself at the moment because I don't want to have an interviewee, but myself is that it's not quite helpful, unfortunately. So it's not really a success story yet. Unless I gain probably 200,000 subscribers just based on a part-time software engineering course, YouTube channel, then yeah, probably it's a success story. But for now, it just goes back to the first topic I mentioned. It's my personal fulfillment. I haven't actually seen a good return on investment plan of the time and effort and money that I put into this masters just yet. But we'll see in the future, probably another 2 years and 3 years, I will make a summary video to talk about it. But the summary story is that there's loads of people who benefit out of it, especially the one who sponsors my company. The company would like to further career advancement of their and they're being chosen to do that. I would say these are the good success stories. I do know some of the people in my university that's going through this path, so hopefully I will make videos in the future to talk about their experience and so on. probably a podcast. I'm not sure. I'm too small to make a podcast at the moment. The next one will be making the decision, right? So when you're 30s and you're trying to think about whether you want to do it or not to dwell too long in the process of thinking whether you want to do a master's or not. So for myself, I spent too much time thinking about it. I think I started to think about it during COVID, which I mentioned, 2020. And finally, I took the plunge, and in 2 years ago, I enrolled into it. I just felt like I should have done it a lot earlier. In the end, it doesn't matter really. Again, it comes back to some of the videos that I talked about it, the spotlight effects that how people think about you. But at the end of the day, no one gives a crap. How you look like, how old are you? And I haven't met a 60-year-old guy doing a software engineering courses in my same cohort. So in the end, make a decision quicker, but not instantly, but you take 2 months, 3 months to think about it, your financials, your time, your effort, commit into it. Once you decide on that, just go for it. The last one is tips for prospective students. I'm considering a bit of experience. I have my second year in Oxford University doing a part-time software engineering course. The tips I will share is not just time management, financial consideration, which is mentioned, but rather the mentality of it as well. Some people are doing these masters because you can flex on people, like say, I'm going to master, but sometimes people don't do that anymore, right? It's 2024, people flex Lamborghinis and things. But anyway, especially when you think about this, there's two things, extrinsic values and intrinsic value. If you're thinking of impressing people, then you do these masters, for whatever reason of that, getting career advancements, blah, 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 and all that. That's extrinsic value. There is a limit how much you can spend your extrinsic value. It's a bit like willpower. That some force is pushing you and you keep going and keep going and keep going. I mentioned it's about my personal fulfillment, and this is ties to intrinsic value. So if it's intrinsic value, it sort of have a superpower around it. You can keep doing it without asking for a return, and this is quite strange. And in the past, I made some videos about it. I mentioned that anything you do, anything that related to extrinsic values and willpower, you will spend it off in 1 to 2 months. And after that, you have to think about your strategy, how you continue doing it. My last few videos is about intrinsic values. Once you understand that intrinsic value, you will unlikely to feel burnout and you will keep just grinding. And this is what I found in my YouTube at the moment. It sucks. I know my video is bad and my editor is trying his best to save my video, but I'm still doing it because I have an intrinsic value that I want to improve myself in talking to camera, and then I also wanted to enlarge my networking so that I know a lot more colleagues who has the same mind like me about finance, master software engineering course, or anything like that. Conclusion, doing a master at 30 is pretty bold, right? It's a bold move. It's never easy. There's a lot of things to consider, but the few things I shared just now in the videos is some of my personal experience, my thoughts, and hopefully that will help you. If you have any questions you would like to ask, feel free to just leave comments down below. I'll be happy to answer that because my comment section is quite lonely. There's no one comment, I'm not sure why, but probably my video is too bored anyway. But if you like the video, subscribe and like the videos, and if you do have some questions and topics you would like to kind of see I'm talking about, then just feel free to leave comments, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.